What's going on, Internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerdlocker podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Jimmy.
We are going to talk about stuff. I get to pick the topics, you guys. I'm in charge. I'm leading this podcast into the great unknown.
Or into the ground.
Or probably most likely into the ground. For the 4 people that are listening, we're going to drop to at least 3. But anyways, let's talk Black Lightning, guys.
Okay.
Is everybody caught up? Everybody caught up on both episodes?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. If you're listening to this and you're not caught up, skip ahead, or maybe just
not listen.
Watch them and then listen to this. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm not a big fan. I'm gonna be honest. I was
curious because I saw your brother posted something too, and I'm like, wow, okay. I wonder what Patrick thinks.
I'm on the fence with it because it is part of me. Okay, the first episode was good. Okay, first episode was good. I thought it was a decent, outing as far as it goes for a new TV series, new show. They didn't really they didn't follow the normal formula for WB DC shows, but the second episode kind of lost me a little bit. To be completely honest, it kind of lost me a little bit. So that being said, I'm willing to watch, continue watching just to see how it goes. But the reasons why I didn't enjoy the film so much, the show so much, it was that it was just trying too hard. I felt it was more of a pandering towards the Black audience versus coming with some originality, like with Luke Cage. So, and there's big differences between the two. I mean, I'm speaking from a perspective. FYI, if you guys are listening, didn't know, I'm the only Black guy here, so I'm just talking from my perspective.
Spoiler alert, guys! I am not Black.
Yeah,
it's true. Patrick,
cat's out of the bag, guys.
Yeah. So, but then again, I have cousins that enjoyed the episodes immensely. They talk about it all the time, and I have a lot of friends who obviously come to me as the comic book nerd, the resident comic book nerd, and ask me like all these questions. I'm like, well, why? Why did they go so hard on this? I was like, I don't.
Now, did you read? This was a little even before our time, but did you read the comic book?
I never really read the comic. I got to be honest. Black Lightning was never a cool character for me. Even when going back to the Super Friends,
Black Vulcan.
Yeah. Black Vulcan.
Where he just didn't have pants on.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, or didn't have like legs for a long time.
It was just lightning.
Yeah, it was just lightning from the waist down, and when he did, he just didn't have pants on. I was like, all right, and then I was like, then they came up with Black Lightning, and I'm like, this looks like Black Vulcan with pants, and I wasn't a big fan of him then. On the other side of the things, though, I would have much more enjoyed a Static Shock versus a Black Lightning.
Interesting.
Because Static Shock had some issues as a young Black teen, where I read that comic. I read Milestone comics. I have the Static Shock #1 sitting in my box, in the boxes, and a couple of them. Again, going back to when we talked about the I don't know if we ever talked about Robert Kirkman's series on AMC, Moments in Superhero History or something like that. I forgot the actual title of it, but it was a series that he went through these different comic book creators, and one of the shows was about Milestone Comics. It was about the all Black. Well, it wasn't all Black. It was just the creators were Black. The staff was actually multicultural. But wing, this was a creative wing of DC Comics, and they came up with some, very interesting characters, and the one that rose to the top was Static Shock. We got Static Shock toys, Static Shock the cartoon series, and it was a good comic book on top of that. So, I mean, it talked about everything from drugs, race relations, safe sex, all that other stuff, all in all in one series, which was stuff that DC just did not do in the 90s. If you remember, it was that Just Add Water period of comics where Image was making like gobs of money. Marvel was still, leaning really heavily on their legacy titles, and DC was kind of left like holding their schwanz, trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do, and they created Milestone. So, but that's my take. What is your take, Jim?
That's interesting. Like you kind of alluded to, Black Lightning was before us in that. As we've mentioned, Tony Isabella created it. I think it was the early mid 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So I somehow, in the travels going with parents and picking up a comic book at a gas station, I got like a collection of it was I don't remember the name of it, but it was like Legion of Superheroes, but it was like a mini comic with a collection of a whole bunch of stories.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the stories in there was Black Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool. As a kid, I was reading it. And I just remember this one image where Black Lightning took on whatever gang, and one dude was strung up on a basketball hoop, and it was like, now I know it's Trevor Von Eden, but the art was just like so cool for back then. I was like, man, that's like awesome striking. So it always kind of stuck with me, but I never, like, if I remember correctly, Tony and Trevor only got a 12-story arc for the first issue when they created him. And then they got another one in the 90s, and then it was only 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now is the next one, and they're doing a new one. It's only 6, but it's called Cold Dead Hands. And then he's kind of popped up here and there. So yes, he was like the first African American DC character to get his own comic book. But like you're saying, I don't think he was the most impactful, because I think they've created some since that have more relatable, I guess I could say.
Mm-hmm.
But with the TV show, I really enjoyed that first episode. I was telling Brandon that I'm trying to catch up on Arrow, and I just finished season 3. I'm at the beginning of season 4, and it's really like wearing on, gotten more soap opera, and it's like, come on, man, do something.
Right.
So watching Black Lightning was refreshing, because it's like there's no origin story. You just jumped in, and to find out that was Black Lightning and he's not Black Lightning, and he's having this issue of not wanting to do it. So you have this, reluctant hero, and he only comes out to protect his family. I was like, man, this is really cool. And then, spoiler alert, I'm the white guy watching this, and I'm like, okay, interesting how they're tackling race issues. Like, I kind of dig this because, yeah, you see it on the news, and like we kind of talk about it a little, but I don't know. I have no clue. So to see it a little bit on TV in a superhero comic, I was like, okay, I like that. I think it's cool. And then one of my favorite scenes from that first episode was when the cops pull up on him after he's at the club where the 100 were, and he's just saved his youngest daughter, and the cops are telling him to get down, and then the one cop says, "Get your black ass on the ground," and you just see his eyes go, the lightning effect, and you're like, wow, I don't think you should have said that. And boom. And you're like, okay, that's cool. I dug that. And then the bad guy, that's what it was, Tobias Whale. Dude, obviously he is shades of like Kingpin or any other super high mafia guy. But like his use, and I don't know comic book versus the TV show, but his use of violence, like shooting the harpoon in the guy and then bringing him close. It's like you could have shot somebody and caused torture, but you shot somebody with a rope attached to it. So you're pulling him into you. I mean, that is power. That's like,
that was baller as shit. I was like, God damn.
Dominate you, motherfucker. And you're like, whoa, dude. I thought that was awesome. And then even in the second episode, when he's taking care of Lala, and you're like, man, this
just choke the shit out of him.
Yeah, He's not having henchmen doing it. He's doing it. That's, like I said, Kingpin. That's just awesome. If it can't get done, I will do it myself.
Mhm.
So I think there's a great layer where we already know there's a history between Black Lightning and Tobias. We don't know exactly what it is, but we know it's there. And each of them think the other's dead, which was interesting.
Mhm.
So I'm curious how that's going to come to a head. I'm digging it so far. I can't exactly put my finger on why, but I'm digging it. I think it feels a little more fresh than some of the other CW shows, which aren't necessarily bad. Just I think it's a fresh, different look at the superhero genre, specifically on the CW.
It's a different take for sure, and that's the reason why I liked that. I really did enjoy the first episode, because for the same reasons you talked about, like, you know, we just jump right in to where he's at now in his life, and what he's doing, and the fact that he was married, and he was married, has a family, and all these other things. These are things that you don't really see in superhero archetypes when it comes to, you know, their series or their story or any kind of, you know, show. So, no, I totally agree with you on that one. But for me, it's like, I don't know, like there's like, you know, having the Isley brothers play in the background. I'm like, okay, we just want to confirm. And this is coming from a perspective of a black person's perspective on things. It's like, yeah, dude, we get it. Isley brothers are playing in the background. This is a black show. Got it. So it's, you know, these are things that black people pick up on when it comes to television, when it comes to writing, when it comes to just media in general. We can tell, or I think the majority of black people feel that, you know, we can tell when we're being pandered to. And one of those key features is having the Isley brothers playing in your background. You know,
I was wondering that, like, if there was like an element of pandering to it,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
Well, like the thing that Jim said that I liked was that it just starts. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have a 3-episode origin story. Like, it just throws you in there. I like that it's a little more adult and a little more violent than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, like, I had this moment watching, and, you know, it's the same as, like, Luke Cage and, you know, a couple other things that when you're watching it, it's weird because, like, I watch Daredevil, right? And, like, I grew up reading Daredevil or Batman. You know, I can watch a Batman movie. I can watch the Daredevil Netflix series. And, you know, I grew up reading these people. I didn't grow up reading Wonder Woman. You know, I know who Wonder Woman was, but I didn't, like, read Wonder Woman. I didn't read Black Panther. I didn't read Luke Cage. I knew who they were, but it's like, you know, I never went to go pick up those series. And it's just one of those things too that it's like I can watch The Dark Knight and I can't relate to anything in that because I'm not a fucking billionaire rich guy going through shit. But also it's like, you know, I see that disconnect. I've seen shit online that's like, oh, I can't get into Black Lightning. I can't relate to it. And it's like, yeah, but can I fucking relate to Daredevil?
Right.
Like, no, because I can see. And I'm also not a lawyer. So, but you know, like, I think it's cool that we are getting that point. I mean, you have Luke Cage, you have Black Panther, you have Black Lightning, and I'm excited to see, like, what else comes along in the future here. Like, you know, you have Wonder Woman now. Like, you have a full solo Wonder Woman movie. You've got Jessica Jones. I just like that we're getting to a point where we can look at these people that have been side characters for so long and getting a main spotlight. And honestly, I think the CW has been doing such a good job with their shows that this is the perfect time to
try
put out something like this.
It is because, I mean, you made a good point with the tone of the show. The tone of the show is a lot darker than any other shows. I feel like the CW kind of overreached a little bit with Legion.
You mean
was it the Legion of Superheroes
or Legends of Tomorrow?
Legends of Tomorrow. I keep thinking of the Ring because that fucked me up because I don't know if you guys remember when before that series jumped off, the dude, you know, shows up with the laser ring. I'm like, and then all of a sudden it's like Legends of Tomorrow. I'm like, what the fuck? At any rate, but they kind of overstep their bounds a little bit, trying to make like White Canary bisexual and like just humping everything that she can get her hands on, and then having a little bit more edgier script going back and forth. When it first started off as a kid show, because it did, and my son was watching it, and then once it started getting a little bit, I was like, I can't watch this anymore. Yeah, this is no. And they set the tone very early with Black Lightning. Like, this isn't exactly your a kid's show right off the bat. And I do appreciate that and them sticking with it. And I thought that was actually pretty cool.
That is cool. I read a cool interview with Cress Williams, the Black Lightning, and they were asking him, or one of his friends had been talking, and he said, dude, you're it. You're not like Jack Nicholson has to play the Joker, and we've seen more Jokers, or Michael Keaton is playing the Batman, and we've already seen Adam West do the Batman. Mm-hmm. You're establishing this character. So anybody after you who plays this character, or the rip-off Black Vulcan, or little Static Shock, they're always going to come back and compare to you. And his face just lit up with excitement, and it was like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's a cool revelation for him that he gets to do that. And again, I'm a white guy. What do I know? But it's cool to see that you're having a black guy being a black superhero and hopefully being a great symbol for a whole bunch of other people. And I think that's so cool.
That's cool. I mean, I do think it's awesome. That's why, I'm excited about Black Panther to see how that does and where that comes from. Because, again, you're exploring characters that normally we don't get the chance to see. America doesn't get a chance to see.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be like really interesting. I mean, I'm trying to think of like other characters. What are some of the other characters that you guys would like to see that haven't been explored?
Well, it's funny because you mentioned Static Shock, and when I was introduced to Static Shock, I mean it was when Justice League Unlimited or Justice League was going on,
right?
And that cartoon fucking sucked in comparison to Justice League Unlimited, and I think that's why Static Shock has had there's been 2 or 3 attempts in an ongoing series in the time in the last 12, 13 years that I've been, picking up comics regularly, and it never catches on. And I honestly think it's because of that series. Mm-hmm. And like you just talking about it, I had no fucking idea the comic books or anything about that shit. Yeah. The TV show was so fucking hokey. There's an episode where he fights crime with Shaq and Karl Malone. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I remember that. It was when Karl Malone was playing for the Lakers.
Yeah, it was this whole episode where basketball players showed up and they all had super suits, and I was like, dude, this fucking sucks, dude. This is not.
That sounds like when Scooby-Doo ended up with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Exactly. It was the exact same thing.
No joke.
Oh man.
But it was terrible. So I think that's why you've had a hard time getting that to catch on with, kind of the generation that saw him as that cartoon character and was like, I'm not going to read this shit. That TV show sucked. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And Justice League Unlimited was such a solid show. It was so good.
Yeah, I got replaced by Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly,
at least Young Justice is coming back.
At least that's coming back, exactly.
But I think now would be the time. I mean, you look at the CW shows, and Arrow and Flash. It is a little bit older, but I mean, it's still something I guess younger adults can watch and teenagers can watch. But with all the shit the CW puts out with Archie and all this other teen drama stuff, I could see you doing a shock show and covering that demographic now of the DC TV universe. And you could still make it about, you could even play off of the Black Lightning series if it catches on.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't think, two people with electric powers in the same type of situations, just one's an adult, one's a kid. I don't know if that's going to
That's not going to play well.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you could still introduce him on. I mean, fuck, dude. Arrow's got like 95 fucking people on it now. You can bring them on to Black Lightning.
Exactly. You got 95 people rotating through Arrow at any given point.
Jeez, every time the fucking show starts now, it's like 19 logos, and then it's like Arrow. I'm like, fuck, dude.
I don't think he would do his own show, but I'd love to see him on a show. Would be Booster Gold. I think Booster Gold would be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
In this game. Oh man, he'd be perfect.
Booster Gold, I can guarantee you Booster Gold will end up being on Flash. I
fucking hope so, dude. I hope so bad. Yeah. Like, goddamn. I hope they correct every mistake made with Smallville.
Yes.
Like, they already fixed Hawkman. They're fixing Legion on Supergirl. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, just fix everything you did.
Blue Beetle. Like, I would love to see Blue Beetle.
I forgot Blue Beetle was on Smallville.
Yes. Remember?
It was so bad.
It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But, like, this is what I'm, like, me and my son normally have conversations after Flash about, characters that are on there. Because the part that upsets me about this season is they put Plastic Man on there, and that's
elongated man.
Elongated man, I know. I saw last night's episode. But it's I was like, he's a good character. He's a great character, but I don't think he's like something substantial. Like a Booster Gold, awesome, because he comes from the future. He knows about Barry's future. It would have been a perfect play into the whole time stream thing they love messing around with, as well as like a Blue Beetle, because Cisco is like pretty much the only Latino character I've seen on the show. Yeah, he is the only one.
Yeah, that is.
But Blue Beetle would be freaking phenomenal because I always liked Blue Beetle. I thought Blue Beetle was like one of the best, especially when they rebooted him.
See, I feel like they've talked about Cord Industries, so you'd have to introduce Ted Cord, especially if you're doing Booster Gold, because like just fan service that for us, and then you can totally introduce Jaime. Like that would be cool as shit,
wouldn't it?
I honestly think Elongated Man is getting primed for Legion, not fucking Legends, because I don't know if you saw, but Kid Flash is going to be on Legends now.
Oh, is he? Nice.
They're moving him over there for a little bit just to kind of like move out the character and everything. But I could see Elongated Man going to that because I like that all these shows are starting to cover different bases. Like Black Lightning is now, an area that you're not going to see with Arrow or Flash.
Right.
And Legends is kind of like the fun, goofy, like let's travel through time and fucking, let's have fun with it. Yeah. It's superheroes. Kind of like the cheeky, there's some serious points to it, but it's not,
not really serious. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, throwing Elongated Man on that team would be a perfect fit down the line. But I would, Jim and I were talking right before you got on, and I really, I'd love to see Black Lightning show up in the next big crossover episode. But I also hope they don't do that too soon because I want this show to find its groove and its voice before you're just like, hey, look, the Flash is here. Like,
yeah. I definitely agree with that because that's one thing that executives have a tendency to do way too much. And it's like, oh, it's catching on. Let's go ahead and push him into another, let's do a crossover so we can gain some of that demographic and pull him in here.
Yeah.
Or worse yet, it's not working, so let's try and cross it over so it gets some of that audience.
Yeah. One of the two. I really can't say.
I think everybody jumps these TV shows too quickly, too, because it's like 4 episodes in and they'll be like, canceled. And it's like, you go back and watch the shows you really like, and the first season and a half, it's a slow start in retrospect, like they have to find what they're trying to get to. So I'm hoping they give this the chance because I did like the first 2 episodes. And it's funny, too, because there was stuff in the second episode that I'm like, I bet white people would be fucking freaking out about this shit. Like when the girls are drinking at school upstairs, and it's like, bro, we're all in high school.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. We can
don't act like you're fucking better than that because you did it too.
Yeah,
but like if they had that on the Flash, it would be like teens drinking at school.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like I'm boycotting this show.
Right.
Mothers against superheroes.
One thing I really did like about episode 2, because I was wondering, in this first episode, he saves his daughters from that hotel, and they're like staring right at him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how do they not recognize him?
Right.
Are you kidding?
Right.
But in the second episode, they explain when this younger daughter's like, well, when you look at him, it's like just a spotlight. You can't really see. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Totally explained it away. Not a problem.
Yeah, I'm on board. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I like how it was just that simple. Thank you, because I would have the whole time been like, really? He's got goggles on. You can't recognize him. He's got like the same beard. Come on.
I think it's kind of like the Flash thing. Like they don't do it the entire time, but it's like always said in the comic books that like he's slowly vibrating his face, so you can't really get a look at anything. Well, that was Jay Garrick, but I know like. No, they do it with his voice and stuff. So I'm glad they addressed that too, because I thought it too. I was like, oh shit, that's your dad. And then they're like, Black Lightning, he saved us.
Yeah, like, exactly.
What?
I did like that. And can I just put another nod out? Or I guess a little pet peeve of mine. We have another British, this time actress. We can't find Americans who can act in superhero movie or
who's the British actress?
His wife.
His wife is British, yeah.
I know. I saw it in an interview. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Americans do this. Why do we have British people?
Yeah.
Bro, look at the Dark Knight. Christian Bale, fucking Heath Ledger, Gary Oldman. Like that entire movie is like not Americans.
Everybody. At least Michael Caine made sense though. But yeah.
Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The only one that did make sense.
If you say my cocaine in a British accent, it sounds like Michael Caine saying his own name.
Exactly.
like this, not like this, like that.
Yeah. Oh, that fucking movie with Coogan.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
I know.
But no, I think this is off to a good start. Like, I hope it keeps up. I hope it gets a good viewership because I like the idea of like, I don't know, just shows tackling different areas of this stuff.
Well, in my opinion, what was it? Shield. What, the first episode of Shield?
Mm-hmm.
It was okay.
Right.
First episode of Gotham. I've heard both of those honestly have gotten a lot better. I gave up, but it was not great.
I haven't watched.
But at least
Shield's actually pretty good. Shield's.
I've heard that.
Is it?
Yeah. They took him off. They took him off planet. Because the whole Infinity War is coming, so. Just to avoid that whole tie-in mess that they didn't do, the last couple of movies they just took them off planet, and it's actually pretty good. I'm impressed because I thought the season beforehand we had Ghost Rider. Season beforehand we had like kind of a Matrix feel to it. Season before that we had Ghost Rider, which was awesome. And I was like, okay, we're getting back on track because season 3 was it 3 or 4 or something like that. It was getting ready to go downhill fast. It was circling the bowl. But
nice.
Yeah, I kind of quit watching after last season. I haven't watched this season at all because I was just like kind of burnt out on it. And it honestly, it's getting to the point where it's like, how is this the same fucking universe? Like, it doesn't even.
No, they.
I don't know, dude. I feel like everybody knows Phil Coulson's alive except fucking Tony Stark and the Avengers. Like,
right?
Hasn't he been on TV since then? Like, has he still been hiding for fucking 5 years?
He's been in hiding.
Oh, for fuck's sake, dude! Like,
never.
Come on.
Never came out of the shadows.
That's fucking ridiculous.
But yeah,
but it's like, I don't know. I have issues with that show.
Well,
but I mean, Gotham is
what?
What were you
saying? Go ahead about Gotham.
No, I was saying Gotham's getting a little bit better, but my favorite thing about Batman is always the question of like, does he create the villains or does he, do the villains create him? And this one, it's like the villains are creating him. Like, fucking Riddler exists, Penguin exists, Poison Ivy, Professor Pig, the Court of Owls. Like, they're all fucking here doing shit. Well, I mean, the Court of Owls have always been, but it's like no question that like, oh, he needs to become Batman because everybody's fucked up.
Right. But I will say this: Marvel is caught on to the WB's formula and has been killing it. You guys watch Runaways yet? It's the season's done.
I haven't.
So
I haven't
you're
yet.
supposed to be binging now. You say, "I wait."
All right, I'll binge it. I'll binge it.
I wait till the end of the season. Fuck, dude, get on the train. It's actually really good. It's very teeny to a certain extent, and it doesn't.
I mean, the book is.
The book was as well, but it doesn't exactly follow the book. It does and it doesn't. There's some similarities there, but it was actually pretty good. I mean, I was impressed. I thought for sure it was going to be like another pandering teen drama with superheroes, and to some extent it is, but at the same time, there's parts in there that are from the book that you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, that was fucked up. Oh yeah, I remember. And then you think about how screwed up these kids are going to be. Between that and I don't know if you guys saw the preview for Cloak and Dagger.
I haven't seen a new one.
I saw the quick 5-minute clip where they meet at a party or whatever. And
he robs them.
Yeah.
So that looks pretty interesting. I saw some of the there was Comic-Con footage of it, but it was another snippet. It was another section of it, and it was actually looked pretty good.
I'll tell you one that's surprisingly good. Like it started out okay, and then it kind of got soap opera-y, kiddie thing. Gifted.
Oh yeah, Gifted.
I'm a couple episodes behind, but I was like, wow, they're doing pretty good with this.
What episode are you on, Jim?
The last I saw was the what's her name, sisters, the
Cuckoos.
Dude, that was the coolest fucking reveal.
Yeah, I was
ever.
Blown away.
Best.
I did not.
Did
not see that. Obviously, everybody saw that she was going to backstab and do something nefarious. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my god, did not see that coming.
Oh my god.
I was just kind of with the show. I wasn't really into it that much. And then as soon as that was revealed, I was like, oh fuck, guys.
Yeah. Bravo. Bravo.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I can get on board with this.
Yeah. After the Cuckoos showed up, I kind of lost my shit because I remember the whole story of the Stepford, kids and being genetic mutations of or samples of Emma Frost, wasn't it? It's like clones.
Yeah.
And how fucked up and dangerous they were and unstable they were. And as soon as they reveal it, I'm like, oh my god, you guys are in such a world of shit right now. That's all I kept thinking.
Well, I saw your tweet or your post or something, Patrick, and you didn't say what happened, but you were like, man, I am on board now. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll keep watching the show. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm like, what is he talking about? And then when that happened, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, dude.
What was that? Oh, dude, it's so good.
It was totally one of the best. And I do enjoy the fact that they're not trying to force feed a lot of X-Men storyline into it. They kind of let it develop themselves. I mean, there's mention of the Hellfire Club, there's mention of Trash, there's mention of there's subtle hints throughout the series. I'm definitely thinking, Thunderbird, because we all know Thunderbird's story and who comes in after Thunderbird.
Fucking dead.
So you're like, okay, when is this dude gonna die, or is he gonna? For comic book guys, you're just like, oh, this motherfucker's dead. You just don't know it yet. But the one thing I did find interesting was Polaris and that story, like the Polaris / Sunspot romance, which honestly made more sense to me than Polaris and Havoc. I never liked that about the X Factor books because Polaris was a nut job.
Oh, really?
No, I never did. I thought Havoc was more, I don't know, like just Polaris just didn't fit with me because Polaris was so fucking nuts, and it was like either you're gonna have two batshit crazy mutants running around like California. I always saw them as California. Remember that movie California with Brad Pitt? And
Yeah.
I can't remember the other girl's name. But
Juliette Lewis?
Yes. That's what Polaris and Havoc always reminded me of, because Havoc was always so close to going over the edge of being, just absolutely destructive, chaos ensuing type person, and then you had this crazy bitch hanging on him. And I always felt like he needed somebody a little bit more stable. I was secretly rooting for Jean Grey and Havoc to get together just to burn Scott, but that was just me.
That was hilarious.
But anyway, back to the show. It is a good show. It got picked up for a second season, which is awesome. And I'm interested to see where it goes, because I don't know if you saw the promos for it. They have the mutant banner hanging, but it's the M, like the tattooed M from Bishop on it.
I was gonna say, if like we were talking about, we're at DC, but characters that don't really get their due, I would love to see Bishop. Yes, Brandon, I get it. It's a '90s thing. Suck it, monkey, dude. I love Bishop.
Fucking worst.
I love Bishop.
I like Bishop.
He's like one of my favorites. Until, granted, the way they played him and he got played at the end, that sucks so bad. But his introduction and why he was in the main timeline or now, it was so good. Loved Bishop.
So I don't know. Are you guys current with X-Men comics right now or anything?
Not even close.
No.
So he kind of just shows back up, and nobody seems to give a fuck. He tried to
Cable?
murder Hope or Cable. Like he's just kind of back, and everyone's like, "Hey, Bishop."
Really?
Yeah, he's astonishing X-Men. He's on the team right now. I don't know if I missed something, but then the solicitations for Cable in the next couple months looks like they reignite that fucking fight. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
That's weird, because last I saw him was when they did the reboot of, I think it was the Uncanny X-Force with the women and Puck. And somehow Bishop showed up, but it was like an awful version of Bishop. Like he was like in a coma or something, and he was possessed, and it was like, that's not Bishop. That's stupid. And that's the last time I saw him in a comic book.
Now you want to get obscure characters that would like to see. I used to like Maverick. I don't know if you guys remember who Maverick was, but Maverick had.
Did you say
Maverick? Yes, he was part of.
Oh, yeah,
I remember Maverick.
Weapon X.
Maverick was
Weapon X program. Maverick was always. He had a short comic book run for a while, but I always thought that character was pretty interesting because he didn't really have any powers. He just knew what people were going to do shit to him. So he just got out the way. That was like his only superpower. It's like, oh, predictability. Gotcha. I'm not going to get shot here. I'm not going to get hurt here. I'm not going to, this and that. I thought that was actually pretty cool. They actually are.
That's funny.
They're actually talking about doing a multiple man show as well.
Yes.
They were talking about that movie, but I'm kind of hoping Disney squashes that.
Who was going to star in it? It was a big name. I can't remember.
James Franco.
Oh, well, yeah, that's done. Never mind.
Yeah, James Franco.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Me too.
It'll be Jordan. It'll be, I don't know. Okay.
Oh, so here's what happened to Bishop. He was fucking chasing them in the future or whatever. And then, I remember, he shows back up in Uncanny X-Force. And it is revealed that his mind is being possessed by the demon bear that was always connected with Moonstar.
Wow.
And then Psylocke manages to pull the bear out, but Storm also intervenes, and she disrupts the part of Bishop's mind holding on to the memories of his hunt for Hope. And then he eventually regains his memory of Hope, the self-control he has learned during his time in the future, helps him move past his former vendetta. But it looks like that changes in a couple months. So,
wow.
So if your whole purpose is I'm here, I'm waiting for this kid to be born so I can kill her, and now he remembers, but he's like, man, that was fucked up of me. But it's like, no, your future's still fucked up because of her. I don't know. You know what? Let's just enjoy comics for being comics.
There you
go.
Good way to do it.
That's the way to look at it, Brandon. Don't think too much. They're comics.
I know. Pull out the neck beard and complain about the continuity of everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we've covered every TV show, comic book TV show. So good job, Brandon.
I did it, you guys.
Yay. You made it this far.
Until next, we'll see if I make it back next week.
Yeah, Patrick and I
You
want
guys
to
want
talk
to
to you.
add? What'd you say?
Patrick and I are going to have a talk with you later.
Okay, perfect. One of many. There's Nerdlocker is basically consisted of talks with Brandon
Or about Brandon.
and being like, one, you talk too much, and also stop cursing.
No, the cursing part's fun.
Well, now it is. Well, unless YouTube. Yeah, YouTube doesn't like people cursing anymore, guys.
Well, that sucks.
Fuck them. All right, you guys got anything else to add?
No,
or
that's it for me.
I don't think so.
All right, we'll call it here. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, where they don't want us cursing anymore. What else we got? Instagram, nerdlocker.com, LinkedIn. Anyways, thanks for listening. See you guys next week. Until then, everybody have a nerdy week.